If you're a Magic the Gathering player in the year 2025, there is a strong chance that you play Commander. In fact, statistically, that might be the only format you play, considering it is the most popular by far. Now, I love me some Commander, but it can get a little bit stale after a while. It can also be a little bit of a money sink. It's not uncommon to hear stories of players spending a ton of money tweaking their decks per month just to keep up with the speed of their playgroups. Thankfully, I'm here to tell you that there are a bunch of different variant formats for you to try out. Hi, I'm Foxherder. Thank you for watching this video, and today we are talking Pendragon. Pendragon is a variant of Commander. So before we talk about it, we have to talk about the first step in the chain, and that's Pauper Commander. Pauper Commander, or PDH as it's sometimes called, is a variant of Commander where every single card in the 99 has to be printed at common at some point. There are very few, if any, legendary common creatures though, so your Commander is going to be an uncommon. That uncommon doesn't necessarily have to be legendary though. It can be any uncommon creature. As you could probably guess, a format that uses primarily commons is going to be a lot slower and less powerful than the Commander that you're used to. Because of this, the life total rules have changed too. You start with 30 life instead of 40, and the Commander damage only has to add up to 16, not 21. The ban list is basically the same as the regular Commander ban list, but a lot of people also follow a website called PDH Home Base recommendation of banning Rhystic Study and Mystic Remora. Obviously, that decision can be left up to your playgroup, but we're playing with all commons here. Don't be that guy. Come on. That's pretty much Pauper Commander in a nutshell. It's not too much different if you've already played Commander before. Now that we know what Pauper Commander is, we can talk about my new favorite format, Pendragon. Both formats largely share the same DNA. With Pendragon, every card in your deck needs to be common and you start with 30 life, but the commander damage goes back up to 21, and you'll see why that is in just a second. Because what actually sits in your command zone is pretty wildly different. Pendragon gets its name from the legendary King Arthur, a hero of the common folk that rose to king after he discovered his legendary weapon, Excalibur. That is exactly what you're going to be doing in this format. You start with any common creature ever printed and pair it with a legendary equipment. It works like partners, so both of these cards are in your command zone and have separate commander tags. The small difference from Pauper Commander to Pendragon is enough to make me absolutely fall in love with deck building again. Hey, here's the break in the video where I tell you to like and subscribe. Seriously, thank you so much for watching so far. I bet if every single person that viewed this video subscribed, I would be way farther ahead in subscribers than I was before this. So if you could, I'd really appreciate it. Either way, I'm going to be talking about Magic and other nerd stuff on your feed regardless, so thanks for sticking around. All right, let's get back to it. If you're already feeling overwhelmed by the fact that there are 5,000 potential commanders in this format, let me ease your mind a little bit. There are only 47 legendary equipments in the entire game. If you're following me on Moxfield, link in the description below, you're going to be seeing a lot more Pendragon decks in the coming months. I have become obsessed with building for this format. If you watched my last video, you'll know that I love slivers. So of course, I was going to challenge myself to try to build a sliver deck in Pendragon. This proved to be a really interesting deck building challenge though, because none of the multicolored slivers are at common. So I needed to not only pick a sliver that would lead the charge, I also needed to find a legendary equipment that would give me access to more colors. I decided to go with Quicksliver as my commander, as I think green is the most important color to have for slivers, and unfortunately I'm not going to have access to white, because the equipment I settled on was Unscythe, Killer of Kings. For this build in particular, what the legendary equipment did almost didn't even matter. I just wanted access to as many colors as possible in order to build the best sliver list that I could. It wasn't perfect, but at least I have 4 out of the 5 colors. We're losing out on a bunch of pretty important effects by cutting white, but it actually gave me an excuse to run all of the overcosted slivers I said not to run in the previous video. Because this is going to be a slower format overall, I think running them is fine here. I'm going to leave it there and let you check out the deck list yourself because I don't want to make 2 videos in a row about slivers. What I do want to do is talk about my favorite common creature of all time. Also, your favorite common creature of all time. Let me know who that is in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. When I had first heard about this format, the quickest creature to come to mind by far was Monastery Swiftspear. She's a red 1/2 creature with haste and prowess for only 1 red mana. You can't get any more perfect than that. Side note, did we call her Monica back in the day? Did I dream that? Because she's always been Monica in my head. This art in particular. With Monastery Swiftspear as my common creature, There was no other option than to give her her spear, so I went with Shadow Spear as her Excalibur. It may not necessarily be the most synergistic thing to do with her abilities, but the flavor is just too perfect. The format is slower and less powerful, so you can really let the flavor run wild here. It also gives you an excuse to play with cards that you would never play otherwise. In building for Monica, I found one of my new favorite cards of all time, Mark of Fury. This is a perfect Magic card. 1 red enchantment, gives a creature haste, Mark of Fury goes back to the hand at the end of turn. You can see the undeniable synergy it has with Monastery Swiftspear. I would have never given it a first glance if I didn't have the restriction of only using commons. Prowess also triggers off of non-creature artifacts too, so cards like Chromatic Sphere and Chromatic Star are amazing here, as they fully replace themselves and add to your prowess creatures. Because we're looking to cast as many spells as possible in a turn, cards with buyback and flashback are also incredible. As long as a spell can successfully replace itself, it's likely going to be going in a list like this. The ideas have not stopped coming to me since I started building for this format. Literally in the middle of filming this video, I just had the thought, ooh, I can build a deck around Priest of Yawgmoth. That's a cool mono black card that I never get to use. This bizarre looking creature lets you tap him to sacrifice any artifact you control and gain an amount of black mana equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value. And hey, there happens to be a perfect Excalibur to pair with him in Tarian's Soul Cleaver. This thing gives the equipped creature vigilance, and whenever an artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you get a 1/1 counter on it. This strategy begs you to play those high costed affinity for artifact creatures. You're not necessarily going to pay 7 to cast a Mere Enforcer, but you will get 7 black mana if it's sacrificed to Priest of Yawgmoth. This also gives you even more synergy with cards like Tragic Slip and Deadly Dispute. You're getting even more value off of a creature that's sacrificed. Once you have all this black mana, you need something to do with it, so we're playing a bunch of high-costed black creatures as well. We're also running giant staple beat sticks like Gurmag Angler, because why wouldn't you? You're going to want to bring those artifacts back sometimes, so we have a Fetto Dredging and Dread Return. And if all else fails, we have the kitchen table staple of Consume Spirit. When's the last time you had a chance to take an opponent out with one of these? I'm sure there are a bunch of other common creatures that want to do a similar thing. Priest of Yawgmoth has just always stood out to me from the second that I saw that bizarre artwork. Seriously, go on Scryfall, go through commons that you've never seen before, and let your mind run wild. The Pendragon format has its own Mox field as well, so I'm going to leave that in the description to give you some inspiration there. When you go to pick an Excalibur for your deck, you can rest easy knowing that none of them are banned. The official Pendragon Blue Sky account mentioned that none of the Excaliburs are banned because none of them have been broken yet. And I think that's an amazing philosophy to have here. I've fallen in love with this format so hard that I'm too busy deck building to have actually played a game yet. If you're interested in learning more about the format, they do have a Discord for it, which I'll link down below. If you are going to join, please be cool about it. Let them know I sent you. They actually have no idea I'm even making this video. I haven't really talked to anybody about it. I just love this format so much that I wanted to showcase it. If I introduced you to your new favorite format as well, like and subscribe, please. I know I'm asking again, but seriously, it helps so much. Thank you. Once again, I have been Fox Herder. You have been wonderful. I'll see you next time.